All right, welcome back to Musicians Edition. Today we are going to look at crash cymbals. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to set them up, how to hold them, and of course how to make sound with them. All right, so first of all, I have here in a cymbal bag a pair of crash cymbals, right? Now we've talked about suspended cymbal before in other videos, right? And the difference between suspended cymbal and crash cymbals is that with crash cymbals there are two of them, right? And as you'll see in a second, there are two cymbals in there, each attached to a strap, and we use those to hold them with, and then we hit them together, right? Of course, we'll go through that here in a second, but that's the distinction between suspended cymbal and crash cymbals, all right? Okay, so if we open up this bag, right, you're going to see I have a pair of them. I'm just going to get one out for now, okay? And what we have going on here is, of course, a cymbal. This is very, very similar to the cymbal we've used for suspended cymbal, right? In fact, a lot of times you can use the exact same cymbal. You just set it up a little bit differently to differentiate between the two, right? And like we talked about a second ago, this cymbal has a strap on it, right? So this is just a leather loop here, right? And it goes through the center, right? The hole in the center of the cymbal. And then in here is this very special kind of knot that we use to tie the straps together so that the straps don't pull out of the cymbal, okay? All right. So when we're setting up the crash cymbals, we really want to make sure that we put them in a place where they're not going to fall over, right? Or if they get bumped, or if they just for whatever reason slip or slide or whatever, that we're not going to have one fall and hit the ground, because of course that makes a whole bunch of commotion, right? And we don't want to do that. So if you can, it's nice to have a table of some sort, right? Some kind of table. It needs to be kind of sturdy because these are fairly heavy, right? And then you can just lay the cymbals down. I'm going to go ahead and get the other one out here. All right, so if you have a table with some sort of cloth covering on it, right, a towel or something like that, then you can put one cymbal down, put the other cymbal on top of it, right next to it. And that'll let you sit the cymbals down. It'll let you pick them up without making a lot of noise. And you know that when you pick them up, put them down, that you're not going to risk dropping it. You're not going to risk bumping it, knocking it down or anything like that. Okay? I have actually with this cymbal bag a really cool option that I'll show you, which is once we take the cymbals out of the bag, you'll see that there are two pockets here on the outside, right? This is a really cool bag because it allows you to hook it onto a music stand and then store the cymbals in these little pockets on the sides of the bag, right? That gives you a nice sturdy way to do that. I'll show you how to set that up real quick. There are lots of options kind of like this. I think this one's really handy because not only does it hold the cymbals, but it is also a bag that you use to carry the cymbals or to store the cymbals in, right, to keep them safe. And all you need other than this bag is just a music stand to make this whole thing work, right? So I've got my music stand here, right? I'm just going to raise this up nice and high so you can see it. When you put the cymbals in here, you really want to have it all the way down, okay? So take this, you see where those pockets are. All right, we put this on top here. And there's kind of a hard piece of plastic in there, or kind of a flexible kind of plasticky material that kind of shows you where that edge needs to line up, right? Then we just have these little two clips and this little strap here, right? So we take this one underneath and clip that in. Okay. And we take the other one and we clip that on. All right, and then once you have this set up, then you have these two pockets here, and you just put the cymbals inside them. Right? You put one on this side and one on the other side. Again, I'm going to put this all the way down now so that it's nice and sturdy. But that's how you set it up. And you can see mine's kind of flopping to one side here, right? If you have that happen, the way to fix it is just to tighten these straps down a little bit, right? So if I tighten this down, tighten this one down a little bit, Now it's going to sit in there a little more sturdy and not risk falling over, right? So I'll put one on this side. And the other one in this side, right? Now when I play crash cymbals, I really like to store the cymbals right in front of me, okay? Sometimes just depending on space and whatever, you have to store them off to the side, and that's okay if you have to, but it's really nice to just put them right in front of you, right? And then you put your music right in front of that. That way you can pick them up, play them, put them down without taking your eyes off of the music, right? A lot of times when we're playing crash cymbals, it's kind of a tiresome thing to hold in your hands, right? So if there are stretches of time where you have some rest, you know, several measures of rest or whatever, it's nice to be able to just sit them down. That way you can rest your hands a little bit and not fatigue your arms and your hands so much. We've talked about how to set these up, right? Now let's talk about how to hold them. Now you'll see in a lot of like marching band situations and whatever, people will put their hand through the strap and then loop it around, right? I don't like to hold cymbals that way because it's just cumbersome to get in and out of them, right? The reason you'd want to hold cymbals this way is if you were playing in a marching band setting and you had to hold them for a really long time, right? This kind of takes some of the weight off of your fingers, right? And kind of distributes it a little more evenly on your hand. So this is really nice if you have to hold the cymbals for a long time, right? But usually in a concert setting, we're kind of picking them up, putting them down, picking them up, putting them down. And this takes a while to kind of get in and out of, right? And you will risk making some noise or just using time to get your hand in there and get it looped around, right? I'm going to show you a much easier way to hold the cymbals so that you can pick them up and put them down quickly and just get a hold of them, sit them down, and whatever, okay? So all we're going to do is take our strap, right? And the same way that we grip a snare drum stick with these two fingers, right? Our index finger and our thumb, we're just going to grab a hold of the strap, right? We kind of want to get as close to the bell of the cymbal as we can, right? Just like that. We're just going to pinch, right? And then the rest of the strap is just going to go in the back of our hand, like this. And we're just going to squeeze it with our back fingers and pinch with our front fingers, just like that, okay? And then we just turn it sideways and we're ready to play, right? This is not the most comfortable grip, right? Doing this for a really long time would be not enjoyable, right? Doing it for a few seconds so you can play a few crashes, no problem, right? So, and you can see how it's a much faster way to get a hold of the cymbals, pick them up, play them, put them down, let go, rest your hands a little bit in between, while you have rest measures, and then grab a hold of them and pick them back up when you need to play again, right? Or a lot of times in percussion, we have to go from one instrument to the other, right? So I might be coming to crash cymbals really quickly from a different instrument, and I need to just be able to grab them, pick them up, and play, right? As opposed to getting here, putting my hands through, trying to loop around, pick them up, that sort of thing, right? So I'm a fan of this grip, unless you're playing in a marching band situation where you need to hold the cymbals for a really long time. All right, so that's how to set them up. That's how to hold them. Now let's talk about how to make some sound with them, all right? So with these cymbals, you'll see some people like to use kind of an angled sort of motion or whatever, where you have the cymbals kind of moving at an angle to each other, right? One going up, one going down, or side to side, something like that. I don't really like that because I find it's hard to be consistent with it, right? But a really good way to get some consistent crashes is just to hold the cymbals apart like this and then just push them together, right? That's all you got to do. I'm going to do it nice and soft here. Right? And I'm just holding them across from each other and just pushing them together. Right? A lot of times when we're playing cymbals, you just want to move your hands nice and slow and just time it up so that the cymbals hit right when you need to play. Okay? So that's a really good way to get started, to just practice a few, just holding the cymbals really close together and just pushing them into each other. All right, and you can hear some of those crashes will sound a little bit different, some of them will sound the same, right? And so you can start to kind of use your ears and pick which crashes that you play sound better to you, and then try to make more of those sounds, right? Now, things are going to change just a little bit when we want to play louder, right? So as we want to play louder and louder, we're going to move the cymbals further away from each other, right? And that's just going to give us more of a runway to get more speed for the cymbals to hit each other, and then they're going to be louder, right? So if I want to play softly, I can play right here. Right? If I want to play a little bit louder, I scoot them out here. Right? If I want to play louder than that, I can scoot them farther apart, right? One adjustment we need to make as we're moving the cymbals apart so that they don't kind of get that vacuum effect where they kind of suction together, right? Is we're going to lift one cymbal just a little bit higher than the other, right? I like to lift my right hand just a little bit higher than my left hand, but not much, just a little bit, right? As I move out, I'll lift higher and higher, right? I'm still coming straight together, right? Just one cymbal is a little bit higher than the other cymbal when they collide, right? Okay, so let's try a couple of those. Okay, so that's going to prevent that kind of suction effect that you get sometimes if you try to play really loud and have the cymbals go straight together. Offsetting them just a little bit will prevent that from happening. One other thing that we can do that is going to improve the sound a little bit is we can tilt the cymbals, tilt the bottom parts of the cymbals toward one another. So what that looks like is this, right? I'm just thinking, I'm thinking about turning my pinkies in toward each other as I'm holding the cymbals up, right? Just turning towards each other, just like that. Okay? Right, and again, same way with offset, right? The further apart we get, the more offset we get the cymbals, right? The further apart we get, the more tilt we want to get from our pinkies, right? So as we play louder and louder, we move the cymbals further apart. We're going to go up and down just a little bit more and tilt just a little bit more, okay? A really good exercise, a really good drill to do on crash cymbals is just to practice a crescendo, right? And so when I'm playing soft crashes, I'm holding them close together. I'm just going straight together. And then as I move to louder and louder, I'm offsetting a little bit. I'm tilting a little bit, right? Until I get as loud as I want to play, okay? Now practicing really loud crash cymbals is something that's pretty annoying, right? So you want to kind of pick your moments. You don't want to do it when there's a lot of people around or whatever because it's going to bother their ears. You also probably want to use some kind of ear protection if you're going to be playing a lot of loud crashes. So the other thing we need to talk about with cymbals is how to stop the cymbals from ringing, right? Remember with suspended cymbal, when we wanted to stop the cymbal from ringing, we would just touch it on either side to stop the vibrations, right? We're going to do the same thing with crash cymbals, except that our hands aren't free. So instead of touching it with our hands, we're just going to touch the cymbal with our body, right? So after I play the crash, the cymbal's ringing, I'm just going to pull it in like this, right? And stop the vibrations. I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so I got the cymbals ringing. I just pull them in and the vibration stops. Right? Sometimes we need to do that quickly. So we have to pull it into our body pretty fast. Right? Or sometimes we just let the cymbal ring and then slowly stop the vibrations. Okay, so that'll get you started on cymbals, how to set them up, how to hold them, and then how to play some crashes, how to play some soft ones, how to work your way to loud ones, and then how to stop the vibrations from happening. All right, so enjoy practicing your crash cymbals, and I'll see you next time.